All right, so I've come back and this is how my Mary dried. It's not exactly as blue as it needs to be, so today I'm going to try to make it bluer. When you get to this point, it really is just playing and putting on layers, trying glazes and trying different pigments until you get it to look the way you want it. Right here is looking a little dry. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's a little chalky. See how it's white there? And so that might need a little more egg. We're over here, it's nice and dark. So I don't have even coverage, but it's not bad for the first layer. Remember, these can have like many layers on them. If it gets too cakey, however, if you make your pigment too thick, it's gonna start to crack. So make sure that no layer is too thick. We can still see the board through here. And notice that all of my little, the lines are still visible. Can you see them? So all my little lines that show me where to go are still there. Even though I made big puddles of pigment, I can still see where I'm headed. And so you just trust the process. Your lines always come through. And so I'm just gonna mess with different colors till I'm happy. And then I'm gonna just kind of bounce around the board and do different things. So I'm gonna put my base colors in everywhere. And then when I'm ready to start bringing it to the light, I'll come back. So I'm not sure that you need to watch me do every step of the garments in terms of managing the darkest dark. And so I'm not happy with the colors yet, so I'm gonna work on those. And so once I get dark everywhere, then I'll come back and show you how I bring this icon to the light. And so, you know, at this point, it's just up to you to pick the colors that you like and get your base coat on all the different parts of the board, skin included. And I'll probably say something about the skin when we come back, but the darkest dark of a skin on an icon is usually pretty dark, a lot darker than you would expect it to be. So remember that lighter colors will cover darker colors when it comes to tempera, okay? So I'm going to put the base in everywhere, and when I'm happy, I'll come back and start showing you how to bring this thing to life. Okay, so I've been working for about an hour, and you can kind of see the progress I've made. I added a blue glaze. I used primary blue, and I'm really liking the color for Mary's outer garment. And again, these are the darkest colors. You can see it's not too far off. It's probably a little more green than what's happening on here, but I just like it, so I'm gonna keep it. I use Natural Love Yellow to start outlining like the gold highlights along the outside. And put her hair in with dark neutral brown, as well as this prayer item here. I don't know what it's called, but this thing. And then I also did another layer over my moon. And then I started putting in the Angel's colors too. Angel's way too like blood red, but again, it's just the first layers. And the wings are very brilliant blue, and I'll probably tone those down a bit. And so it's gonna take several layers to get the colors that I want. And the goal is once I have, I wanna make this like enough so that I don't really see white coming through the board anymore. I want it to be pretty well covered. And then we're gonna start putting details in and bringing the lights up. It is weird to go from dark to light because on most painting you go from light to dark, but in this case it's okay. We start in the darkness, kind of like our faith journeys, and then we make our ways to the light as we come to know God and we build our relationship with Him. And so it's fitting that the icon starts in the dark and then it comes to the light. So it looks a little messy, but again, I really clean everything up when I start doing the outlining. Everything is going to get outlined, and it's going to really bring it together and make it look pretty. So the red that I used on my angel is medium red crimson and French lacquer red, and then the blue is ultramarine, and then I used the brown in the middle is natural yellow, and the color on the outside is that same color for the shirt, the mix of medium red crimson and French lacquer red, and then I just added in a touch of this dark neutral brown just to darken it a bit. So that's where I'm at. I haven't done skin yet. I always save that for last, but I'll put that in next. And then I definitely need to put this red in that's going on right here. This dark red is what's coming next. I'm probably gonna paint this whole half over here red. And then I'll put this light highlight in. So that's where I'm at and what's coming up. This image doesn't follow icon rules, so I am like breaking some rules here. But again, this image isn't a you know, an icon like Byzantine or Orthodox. This is the tilma of Juan Diego. So I'm turning it into an icon, so I feel like I can take some liberties to make that happen. So I think this is where I'm going to stop tonight, and then I'll come back and show you my next round of painting, and we'll see how that goes. Bye. Okay, so make sure this is going the right way. Last time I left, we were putting layers on for our base colors, and I pretty much got all my base colors in. Most of the light spots are gone. It's not perfect. I probably have 2 or 3 coats everywhere at this point. The colors aren't exactly where I want them, but I'll put glazes on, and once we throw the details in, it really won't matter. I noticed I haven't done the skin yet, and I decided to save that because the skin to me is really challenging. It seems counterintuitive when you're doing it, so I wanted to do that together. For this particular icon, Mary's face is very light, but when we're doing the faces, the first thing we want to put in is the darkest dark. So I'm looking around her chin and along the sides here. I'm going to make her whole face that dark for our first layer. That seems scary, but it works out. I promise it works out. So I was trying to find a color that was close to that, and I liked Ancient Earth Green. Ancient Earth Green is this one here. Not that cypress. Where's it? Oh, right here. Ancient Earth Green. And then I thought maybe I would have on hand some titanium white. I think if I mix those together, it'll be pretty close. Again, you have to just play around with the colors that you have, and they call this the Probismos, and that's your base color. And from that point on, you really just use that color and you lighten it. And so we bring our icon from the darkness into the light. So we always start with the darkest darks on the icon, and then we put the lights in later. And I'm going to do the same for our little cherub guy down here. He pretty much matches Mary's face up top. So I'm also using titanium buff as a modern color. It means it's not natural. It's something that Rublev actually created, and it's very flesh tony, but it's got titanium white in it, which is really challenging to get the color to come through. So I have no clue how this is going to go, but I just trust the process, and if it's not the right color, I'll just glaze over it and do something else. So I already have my Ancient Earth Green and my titanium buff mixed, and I think the Ancient Earth Green is too dark, so I'm going to add some titanium buff to it, kind of make my own color here. And just that one brushful lightened it up a lot, and it's okay to just touch the paper, you know, it's not too far off really. That might be my color, this weird funky green. Mary's got a green base, so I think we're gonna run with that. One dip. If I was too scared, I could add a little bit more, but again, we don't want to go too crazy. We want these darks to be dark. And so save this part for you. And it looks really weird for her to have a green face, but necessary. If you notice, there's no white left on my board. I go right up to the brown. And if I go over the brown, I can always come back and put some more brown over top and clean it up. I do a lot of cleaning up at the end, so you have less cleaning up to do if you're very careful with your lines. And that means you have to have patience and you need to go slow. Be very deliberate with your brush marks. If you need to open the oven, just open it. There we go. My son's making cookies. What are we having, Caleb? Peanut butter or chocolate chip?
Peanut butter.
All right, so we have fresh peanut butter cookies here in the Mancini household. Wish you were here. You could have one. There we go. And so I'm just doing the little lake method. I put a puddle on here and just kind of dragging the brush around. I like doing this on the faces because it leaves a really even background. And let's see, I missed this little corner right there. I'm trying to do this so you all can see it. It's not normally how I paint, or I should say right. So it looks like our whole face is gone, but remember, when it dries, all your lines come back. I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush for the hands. And whatever you do to one, you wanna do it to all of them so that they match. And so if you're putting your colors in on your hands or your face, then you gotta get your color in on your hands. And the cherub down there too. Alrighty. So I'm just gonna put that in and let it dry. And then I'll have all my base colors in. If this isn't as dark as I'd like it, I may put another layer of this over top. And then we're ready to start throwing some details in and bringing this thing to the light, which is my favorite part. And I look forward to showing you that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish doing the hands and the face, and then I'll see you next time. I don't think you need to watch me do all that.